So when did this all start? When did you head out for this trip?
You mean what date did we sail?
Yes.
Um, the ship sailed on March 14th.
And when did everything go crazy?
It started getting a little bit rough on Friday. Would that be the 22nd? Uh, yeah.
We don't have to do dates. It's fine. It's probably easier for you to say where you were at. So on Friday, where were you guys?
Well, we were at sea on Friday. That was the plan. Um, the captain, we were supposed to make a stop in Norway at Bodo, Bodo, and the captain elected not to because of the little bit of rough seas and wind. So we bypassed our that port and we spent an extra day at sea, and with the expectation that we were going to go directly to Stavanger. That was the next port. But Saturday, Friday, it started getting a little rough. Saturday got much worse. Saturday morning, it was difficult to walk on the ship. There were had to hold on to the handrails, but things were still okay at that time. But I would say around 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon here, things started really going bad. The first things that started happening, we were sitting in the atrium area, and below us was a little cafe with a bar on the first floor of the ship, and all of a sudden all this glass started flying. Food was flying around. All you heard was huge amounts of breaking glass. I said to my husband, our room was on the very back of the ship, literally as far back as you could go. And I said, I'm going to go back up to the room. And I started progressing there by myself. He stayed in the atrium at that time. And as I got into my suite, my cabin steward came in, and all the furniture was turned upside down. The table was knocked over. Things were, the coffee maker was on the floor. It would look like a train had gone through the room. And I started trying to pick things up. And then all of a sudden a huge wave hit, and I fell backwards and hit my head. Then all the power went out on the ship.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it seemed within 30 seconds of that, the emergency alarm sounded, and we were told by the captain to report to our muster station, which I immediately started proceeding there, knowing my husband would meet me there. Once we got to our muster station on deck 2, they were organizing us, and we were sitting in this area at the muster station, which was actually a restaurant being used as a muster station. And you saw a wave. We were on the second floor of the ship, and we saw a wave coming that was actually higher than where we were sitting. So I can't tell you how big that wave was exactly, but I do know I could not see the top of it from the second floor of the ship. And when that wave hit the ship, the window broke, water started flooding in, people were screaming, tables were flying, people were flying. We were just basically terrified. So I don't know how much time progressed, but then the crew was phenomenal through this whole ordeal, very professional and very good at their jobs of assisting everyone. They started getting us out of there because they had to shut down that part of the ship, stop so the water wouldn't keep coming in. And that's when we ended up in the atrium, and we sat there, my husband and I, well, all of us, for 16 hours. And then after 16 hours, my husband and I, that's when our little group was called, and we were escorted to the rescue helicopter on top of the ship. And they rescued us around 6 o'clock Sunday morning is when we finally.
When you were in the atrium area, did you feel safe in that part of the ship?
I did. We were only probably about 40 feet from where the damaged window was in the restaurant. But they did secure it. I saw that it was secured. When we walked back that way to go to the restroom, the carpeting was soaked, everything was squishy. It was definitely wet, but definitely not taking on more water. No.
Just listening to you describe those moments by yourself in your room before you met up with your husband, I mean, sounds terrifying. So I'm putting myself in your shoes. Was there ever a moment when you thought, I might not get off this ship alive?
Yes, there was more than that moment in the room by myself that crossed my mind. And also when I saw the wave approaching the ship when we were in the muster station, I thought, I don't know if we're going to make it out of here. Yeah, absolutely. And many other passengers we spoke to felt the same way. The other passengers have told us they were telling their spouse, I love you. If we don't make this, I mean, people were bleeding. One person broke their arm. Another person had a compound fracture on their leg. I mean, people were hurt. Yeah.
Were you making phone calls when you were on the ship to family or friends?
Actually, I was not making phone calls. I was texting. The one thing that my husband and I didn't want to happen was we knew news about this would come out. And we wanted to let our family know we're safe. For now, we're safe. When you start hearing these reports, don't worry. We're okay. We're in it, yes, but we're okay.
What was that helicopter ride like?
Harrowing. I mean, I guess it's hard to even find the words describing it. When we were, they placed a halter around us with that we underneath our arms and led my husband and I. We exited two at a time. They would pull two people up a time into the helicopter. And when my husband and I were escorted out onto the deck of the ship, the helicopter was above. The waves were crashing. The wind was blowing like crazy. We were still in the storm. The rescue team, though, there were members of the rescue team on board the ship as well as up in the helicopter, making sure everybody got transported up safely. Very professional. And they let us out. They clamped the two of us together. And as soon as they gave the signal, they started raising us. It was a huge jerk. The wind was blowing so hard as we were being risen up. We were blowing from, we were in the wind, so to speak. I had my eyes open, and as I started seeing the ocean below me getting higher and higher, I just closed my eyes and prayed, is what I did. I didn't feel like I was going to lose my life there then, but it was quite a dramatic rescue. But I did feel I would be okay.
Those 16 hours that you were waiting in the atrium, what were you doing? Were you able to sleep? Or were you just panicking?
Well, you have to understand, I'm sure the adrenaline is pretty intense.
Right.
We talked, groups of passengers, we would talk, tell stories. The crew, I can't even begin to tell you. We're sitting there in the middle of this disaster, and they're coming through with water, food, towels, trying to care for us.
And you and your husband are okay, right? No injuries on you or Wally?
Nothing substantial, no. No.
Yeah. What was the worst part, Laura?
Wow, I would say the worst part was being tossed around in that cabin and then the power immediately going out and all the furniture broken glass. That moment, and then when I saw the wave approaching, I knew it was going to be bad. Those two moments right there are the ones I'll never forget. And
had you been on cruises before?
Oh yeah, this was like our 14th cruise. I'm a huge cruise person.
So you knew something wasn't right immediately?
Oh yeah. I've been on cruises before where we've had rough days at sea, so to speak. But as Saturday morning, as the morning went on, I knew it was more intense than I've ever experienced before. And it just kept ramping up from there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And where are you flying out of right now? You're about to fly out of Norway, is that?
Right now, we're in Morda, Norway, flying to Oslo. We're going to spend the night in Oslo and then fly to Frankfurt, then to Chicago, then home.
When do you think you'll be home?
Well, according to the best laid plan, around 6:30, no, 10:30 tomorrow night.
All right. Well, hopefully that is when we get to see you home, 10:30 tomorrow night.
Thank you.